as you can tell from the title, today we are going to talk about brows. And as you can see from my brows, I have not filled them in or done anything to them yet today. I get so many questions on filling in brows, and whether we like it or not, brows frame our face and they are important. I look at it like this. If you had a beautiful piece of artwork, you wouldn't just tape it to the wall and let it hang there, or put it in a beat up, shabby old frame, because that would take away from the beauty of the artwork itself. Brows are the same thing, but for your face. Not only do they frame your face, but they also reflect your personality. If you're somebody that's super laid back and minimalistic and natural, you know, you're probably gonna want to go for a more feathery, natural, undone brow, because that reflects your personality. Whereas somebody like me, who's more of a more is more type of person, and I'm a lot more structured, so I go for a more bold, structured brow. Everyone's brow needs are a little bit different. For me, like the front portions of my brows are fairly decent because I always kind of just left that part alone. But towards the farther back you go, the thinner and sparser they get, because that's where I overplucked in high school. And so anyway, I'm going to show you guys today how I fill in my brows. In the future, I would definitely like to do another one of these videos, maybe with a couple of other people that have different natural brows. So I'm going to show you what I can show you on myself today, and then I'm definitely going to be doing another one of these videos soon when I have some volunteers to help me out so we can show you a couple of other things. So let's get started. First, we're going to talk about the technical structure of brows. So you need a pencil or a brush handle or anything like that, and eyebrow pencil. First, you're going to figure out where you want your brows to start. So the way you do that is you put the handle of the brush or the pencil or whatever you have, you put your tool along the side of your nose, match it along the side of your nose and the corner of your eye, and that's where your brow should start. So if your brow didn't start there and you needed to bring it in further, you'd maybe just make just a tiny mark. I'm not going to do that because my brows are already there. So then you're going to find out where your brows should end. And for that, you're going to take the tool along the side of your nose and line it up with the corner of your eye. Just like that. And that is where your brows should end. So you're going to want to make just a little mark right there if you are going to need to extend your brows. Then we're going to figure out where your arch should peak. Take your tool again along the side of your nose, and you're going to look straight forward and cross it across your pupil. So along the side of your nose and running across your pupil when you're looking straight ahead. And that is going to tell you where you want your arch peak to be. So then you can take your little pencil and just make a little mark right there so you know. So I brought you guys in just a little bit closer, and first we're going to start with brushing them out and brushing them up. Up and out. Okay? And I am using for this, so my two favorite drugstore options for filling in your brows would be the L'Oreal Brow Stylist Definer and the L'Oreal Brow Stylist Shape and Fill. However, if you're going for precision, if you really want to make those hair-like strokes, I highly recommend the Brow Stylist Definer because it's much smaller tip and it will definitely help you make those hair-like strokes a lot easier. So now that we have our brow brushed out, we're going to go ahead and just start creating a line along the bottom of where we want our brow to be. And you're just going so light-handedly and just short little hair-like strokes. Another tip that I should have already mentioned but I forgot to is the color of the brow products you use. General rule of thumb for products is that if you are blonde, you're going to want to go 2 shades darker than your natural hair color for brow products, and if you are brunette, you're going to want to go 2 shades lighter. There are, of course, exceptions to those rules. I myself am one of those exceptions. I have brown hair, but I have jet black eyebrow hairs. So if I try to fill my brows in with anything that is 2 shades lighter, like a light brown or a taupe or anything like that, it looks ridiculous. I personally can only use a dark ash brown pencil or any product to fill in my brows. So you basically just have to kind of figure out what works for you. Okay, so now we'll talk about if you needed to fill in towards the front of your brows, you'd basically do the same thing with those hair-like strokes, but up. So you're gonna start down here and just make those tiny little flicks upward, and then spoolie them out really, really well, comb them out really well and blend it in, because you definitely want a lot less color in the front first portion of your brow than the rest. Generally, you want to start the least color out in the front and then get it darker as you go back. So you're going to want to use as little product as possible in the front portions and then really comb it out to blend it in. Because as you can see, I don't have anything in my brows yet up front, and the hairs right here are much lighter, so it looks so much more natural to just get a lot less color up there. That way you don't have the blocky Sharpie brows, because that is not a good look on anyone. So back to filling them in. So we're creating our line down here. We're gonna go from where we made that mark where we want the peak of our arch to be and kind of bring it down. And just short little light-handed strokes. Okay, so once we have that done, then we're just gonna go in and comb through it with our spoolie. Okay, so now that we have them filled in and combed through, we're going to take some concealer. I'm using Tarte Shape Tape, and this is a Sephora Pro Brow Contour brush number 36, and I am just going to dip the tips of it into some concealer, and I'm going to start to carve out my eyebrows. So I'm going to start up here. And I want to make them even, so I'm going to take a little bit off right there. And we're just going to kind of basically make a line right under them. Then once we have that line done and we are basically out of product on our brush, we can just drag it down and blend it in. Now generally you're going to be probably doing this before your eye makeup, but I'm not, so either way it's okay. I usually always do my brows first. I carve them out, then I do my eyeshadow primer and my eyeshadow, and then my foundation and everything. So this is a little backwards for me, but it's okay. So now we've got the brows shaped, filled in, and carved out. And I also wanted to mention that you can always carve them out with concealer on the top too if you feel like you need to. I just didn't today, but sometimes I do. So after we have that concealer blended out, I'm going to go in with a matte cream colored shade. This is Tempera out of Modern Renaissance on a little pencil brush. And I'm just going to kind of set down that concealer with it and just use it to give my brow bone a nice matte highlight. And then our final step after that is to set the brows down. I am going to use Essence Make Me Brow. It is a tinted brow gel with fibers in it. So if you're somebody that has already pretty full nice shaped natural brows, but you just want to thicken them up a little bit and darken them up, something like this is exactly perfect for you because you're going to brush it through your brows. It's going to set them in place the way that you want them. So I'm going to take the little brush and I'm going to start towards the end of my brow because the end is what I want the darkest, and so when we have the most product on our brush, we want to definitely start at the end till we get some of that product off and then work forward. So we're just gonna comb it through, kind of up and out again like we did with that spoolie, and work our way towards the front as we work some product off. And I usually try to stay away from the very front for the most part. Just hit it a little tiny bit when there's almost nothing left on your wand. Okay, that's it. That's all there is to it. I know it can be a little bit intimidating, but it's important to play around with it and practice and figure out what type of brow looks best on you and practice that and try them all out. By the way, I was going to mention another good product from the drugstore. This Wet n Wild Universal Brow Stencil Kit is really great. Some people greatly prefer brow powders to pencils. I personally like pencils, and I like pomades too, but pomades are pretty advanced, so if you're new to brows, I would steer clear of pomades for a little while. But these powders are awesome. There's like 3 different stencils in here that you can choose from. Pretty much all the different shades that you would need. This is a nice ash brown, so it even works for me with my black eyebrows. So that's really great. And then you got a nice warm lighter brown and a nice taupey blonde color. And then it also has a brow bone highlight color and a wax. It also comes with a mini spoolie, a mini pair of tweezers, and a little brush with one of these things on the end that no one ever uses. But the brush is actually pretty good. It's a very, very narrow, which is what's important to make those brow-like strokes. So you can just dip the edge of it in and kind of make your brow-like strokes with that instead if you would prefer. And I think this was like maybe $5, and it would pretty much work for just about anyone. I think it's a really great option. And then you can dip into the wax and kind of spoolie that through your brows to keep them in place. So it's kind of like a all-in-one set here, which I think is a really great deal and definitely worth checking out. That is the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed it and maybe I helped you out with a little something. Subscribe if you haven't already so you can be entered into my giveaway. And that's it, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I will catch you in the next one. Bye, guys.